Jumpstarters. Happy Monday. I'm Jade, Trueblood, Director of Training at AWAI, joined by AWAI's President Rebecca Miller. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Jade. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here and for this topic.
Well, Rebecca, it's almost like we should rename this to Manifesto Jumpstart because we're going to jump into that. If anybody is not aware, um, AWAI recently published a manifesto. You can read it at awai.com/manifesto. I was going to do this, Rebecca, but why don't you go into the intention of why we published this manifesto?
Because for 2.5 years, there's been a conversation, which we're going to get into today, all around AI and what is going to happen in the future and this new world and all of the things and the fears. And the biggest issue I have with this is that it has created a massive stop for so many writers. Rather than proceeding like we have with all of the world's changes over the years, from the internet and social media and technological changes and a global pandemic, like we've rolled and we've pivoted and we've moved, but for some reason, this one created a stop where writers stopped and started talking about it and what could be instead of proceeding and building their businesses. So we did the research, we met with the experts, we really dug in to find out what are the myths, what are the realities, and what can you expect in the coming years? And that's what the manifesto is, to hopefully stop the nonsense and allow writers who really want to build careers for themselves to take full advantage of the opportunity. This is an opportunity that is being presented to you, and those who take advantage of it and pivot now are going to not only survive, but thrive in the years to come. And that's what the manifesto is for and all about. If you haven't read it, 100% do it today, just so you understand the
Mhm.
picture of what you're stepping into
Mhm.
in this new world.
I read a phrase this week and it's like my new thing. Okay. I always have a new thing
Love
that I'm
it.
hot on. So it's like, is it truth or is it thought? Right.
Ah,
And I feel like the manifesto is grounded in truth. And there's a lot of thought going on, right, that people
yeah.
have. So why don't we get into some of the thoughts and maybe you can tell us the truths that are around those thoughts to eradicate them. And, we'll never belittle fear. We'll never tell you it's going to go away. It's always going to exist in some way, shape, or form. Right now, the fear around AI is real and it's big, and we understand that. And anything new is scary.
Yep.
But I think one of the biggest conversations to start with is that AI is going to take the job of the writer. We've heard that. We even like it was like, oh my gosh, and then you like start to level. So why don't you answer is AI going to take the job of the writer, Rebecca Mata?
And I think you're right with fear. The antidote to fear is always truth, right? Like, even if we're right about the fear, knowing that we're right allows us to then make plans and change
Yes.
direction, protect ourselves. So, hiding and only saying with people who are like, I'm afraid too, that is only going to keep us in fear. The way forward is to find out and discover and truth. And so, let's start, like you said at the top, is AI taking all the writing jobs? The short answer is no, because the reality is AI is increasing the demand for good writers. Now, is
Mhm.
AI going to eliminate some functions of writing jobs? Yes. Things that can be easily created that don't require a lot of thought. Companies who were never using copywriters anyways because they couldn't afford that kind of marketing. And the most important piece, the group that is going to see the biggest impact, were the people who weren't being valued anyways. The
Mm.
New York Times and the BBC interviewed me at the very beginning of all of this. They both were hitting so hard on the small jobs that were being taken away. And it wasn't until about halfway into the interviews we both realized we were having two separate conversations. They were talking about freelancers getting paid 5, 10, 15, $20 for assignments. I was talking about career writers, professional writers who had invested in their skills in persuasion, knew how to write copy, knew how to market, and like really were working as copywriters. Two totally different things, because the people who are hiring copywriters at 5, 10, 20, $25 never valued the copy to begin with. They did not understand marketing. They did not understand the potential outcome of what could have been. And so they didn't pay for it. They
Mhm.
paid small amounts. So when given a tool that says you don't have to pay those small amounts anymore, you can just do it yourself, they're going to do that because they didn't value it anyways. They didn't value you writers anyways, which is different than what AWI has always been teaching for almost 3 decades now. And that is working for companies who understand the value of marketing. We're talking millions of companies over here who understand the value of marketing and therefore understand the value of copy and content written by somebody who understands persuasion and are willing to pay for it. This opportunity is not going away. And in fact, it's going to evolve and change as we move into the next. We cover it in detail in the manifesto. I know we're going to cover it in a future session of Monday Morning Jumpstart. But just remember, when you hear jobs going away, when you read these big articles that I was quoted in, they were talking about the little, and I don't want to call them hobby jobs or belittle anybody who worked in that space, but for years we've been saying this is fine. You can play over here if you want to. You can do these things, but there's so much more opportunity over here. And if you could just push out of that space and use what you've learned here to grow, you have a real opportunity to thrive as a writer with a big writing career. So AI, not, it is taking jobs, but it's not taking jobs from career writers. It's taking the little ones.
And it's not taking jobs from the kind of writers that AWAI ever tried to train. Like we never aimed to train somebody to be able to work on Fiverr. Our
No.
goal was always to train you to create freedom and to create control in your life, which is way bigger and greater than that. Can you play and start in that pool? Yes, but you can also we have many other ways. It's not that way that you can, dabble
And
and
growing
start.
into, like
Yes,
maybe you start there to gain confidence. I
yes,
get that. And to gain some samples, fine. But the reality is by helping, by creating a niche for yourself or a specialty and really working with companies that you believe in, not because somebody said, I'll take burger and fries and you order take it, but rather I'm trying to accomplish this. I'm trying to solve
yes.
this problem. Can you help me? The value is so much greater over there. The other example I love to use is, again, it was like everyone's just going to use AI. And the best way I can help kind of help the brain to say, oh, that actually doesn't make sense. Like you were saying, wait a second, that's a thought, not a
Mhm,
fact,
mhm.
is take any professional service provider. Let's use your veterinarian if you have a pet, your dentist if not, your CPA, your lawyer, like whatever. That person is a professional service provider like you are as a writer who has invested in their time and their talents and their skills, right? They do something really well now and they get paid when they do that thing. They do not get paid when they write a newsletter or do social media or write retention sequences or engagement things. That person is not going to say, oh, well, thank goodness I'm going to go to AI and write my newsletter. My veterinarian is not going to be like, hot damn, AI is here. Fire the content creators. We're going, right? Because that's not what he does. He has no desire in writing. He has no desire in learning marketing. He has a desire in saving animals' lives, right? And that's what he does. That's what he gets paid for. So for me, it's the most simplistic example to squash this idea of people are just going to use AI to do it. Well, they're not marketers. They're veterinarians. They're chiropractors. They're lawyers. They're cybersecurity experts. Like understanding the professional service provider aspect of it does help, like, oh, right, that doesn't make any sense. And all of a sudden, hopefully, the fear starts to fall apart a little bit. It's like turning on a nightlight in the bedroom. All of a sudden, the monster starts to dissipate.
And I'll say from our side, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this to light or unfolding this
I
curtain,
don't know.
it's good. Like we have a writer at AWAI who was using AI for a long time and we didn't even know it, right? And now because of his speed and efficiency and knowledge, he's doing more for us
Yes.
because he's using AI than what he was before, right? It's almost like it's gone up because he has something that's so amazing that he's using versus it's taken away. His
I
ability
would love to get into this topic more,
Okay.
maybe in the next session, because one of the things we were on that interview with Mark Ford, and you asked him a question, what of all the success people that you know, because he's known so many successful people, what is something that, what characteristic that they have? And this kind of plays into that. And so not only he said, are they like tenacious, like they just can't take no for an answer, but they like what I like to call octopus themselves into the business, like taking on more and more. And AI allows us to do that. So I want to get into kind of what the role is going to be looking like so that you all are ready for that. But the one last thing I just want to say on this topic, just to again, to your point, Jade, thought, fact. I'm going to give you a fact that is also going to reduce the fear.
Yes.
If AI is taking the writing jobs, why is the expected spend on copywriting services, not the copywriting services, you guys, you writers, projected to go up by $20 billion over the next 5 years? It's not going down. If AI is taking the jobs, spend goes down on the service, right? But it's not. It is going up to the tune of 20 billion. This is the time to take advantage. This is the time to stop having the conversations about fear. And again, I get it. I know where they're coming from. And we're going to give you some tips to like move into this. But just tell your, like Jade said at the beginning, is it a thought or is it a fact? This fear is a thought. And we're giving you facts right now. The manifesto is full of facts to really tamper that down. But the budget, the spend is going up. Now is the time to push into this space. It's not taking the right jobs, but it is going to reshape them. And I think we should dig into that topic next.
So for today, I guess that, this sounds kind of
Read the
cliche.
manifesto.
I guess that the homework is to read the manifesto, right? I feel like that's
Yes.
the best action that you can take right now if you're desiring to be a copywriter, if you're desiring to be a writer, if you're desiring to dabble in this world. The best thing that you can do today to shift out of fear is to read that. I feel like it will drive excitement in you. Yeah.
I think so too. If nothing else, just remove that stop that said, uh-oh. There's no uh-oh. There's let's go.
Well, on that let's go note,
Let's go.
next week let's dive into, yes, the opportunity, the tentacles, the expectation of how to be successful as a writer in 2025 and beyond. And let's dive deep into that because I think there's a lot of folks that want to be that. So go read the manifesto and we will see you next Monday. Thank you, Rebecca.
Bye, everyone.